call to order the Board of Commissioners for the Housing Authority Caps County Foundation at 10:23 a.m. Roll call.
Vice President Ann Denton,
Here.
Director Cheryl Brown,
Here.
Director Jimmy Favor, Director Christina Rosales, Director Wilmer Roberts.
We have a forum.
Thank you very much. Item 2, public forum citizen communication. Do we have anyone signed up for that?
No, ma'am.
Item 3, consent agenda, approval of the minutes included in the packet.
Motion to approve.
All in favor? All right. Action item 4, item 4, action items, election of officers. So I think that the foundation having a particularly distinct purpose, we might want to go down and take a minute and think about who wants to lead and who wants to be vice. Or Mr. Payne, who's not here.
Can we make him do it?
Yes, we can.
That's the first person not being here.
Yeah, that's a punishment.
Nobody's interested.
He had expressed an interest in the foundation.
Okay, well, let's make.
Let's make him the chair.
Okay.
And I will volunteer as tribute. to be the vice chair.
Well, you got to support that nomination. The second.
All right, and so any other discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay. Item 5, regular agenda. Presentation by Goodwill Industries.
Yes, we have the distinct pleasure of having Iron Leon, and we first met actually through the Runners Club. We've been partners with the Runners Club for 2 years, and we'll institute that this year with the Deck the Halls 5K run that we've been sponsoring or co-sponsoring with them. But he is now taking on a role with the Goodwill Industries and is very interested in sharing with us opportunities that we have to partner. So with that.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you all?
Yeah, maybe.
It's been good listening to you all and learning a little bit about what you do. We had a great time partnering up and we helped bring that back, running events coming back. In that time, I'm still helping with that, by the way, so I expect a call. I've become the outreach coordinator for Goodwill Central Texas. You guys know what Goodwill Central Texas does besides retail stores? Raise your hand if you do.
I know some.
And so that's not enough hands, and that's why I'm here. So ultimately, the big picture of why I'm here is that we help people get into an employment. So that's the retail store is just how we get there. We also work with some grants. But a whole lot of the people that are the people that you work with are exactly the kind of people that we have a variety of grants. And ultimately, what we're trying to figure out is this partnership here that is as fluid as possible or as concrete as needed, whatever is best for you guys. Because we want to figure out, to quote the Little Mermaid, where the people are. And I appreciated hearing you guys talk about self-sufficiency. And so the flyer that you have here in front of you is the most generic flyer of all that we have. We have actually 29 different grants currently. That's just nerding out. Those things go up and down. But some of them are very specific for veterans. You talked about veterans. Some of them are for people who are at risk of homelessness coming out of this. Some of those things that you shared about. Some of those are for you with disabilities. Some of those are for people with disabilities. Some of those are for people who have experienced domestic abuse. Some of those are for people whose housing has been impacted or financially been impacted by this thing called COVID. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's this thing that's happened a couple of years around here. And so with all those things, we have someone who sits with them and intake one and helps them work through all of that. We have partnerships throughout the entire area. We serve 14 counties. Obviously, only one of them impacts who you work with here. So I won't get into the other ones, but we want to figure out how to get there. And so we're working on some of those things. So you know your population better than I do. I know our services better than you do. And how to figure that out is where we want to work with. Is there literally tonight for the first time, I will be at a low-income housing apartment. So we have classes on what we traditionally call financial literacy. We're trying to get away from some of those kind of literally tonight's classes, as well as how to handle money better. And we're presenting it at their apartment complex for the first time. Usually they have to come to us and hoping that that's somewhere where they sign up for those kind of things. Where they get in, and we have all levels of employers, from hospitals to hotels to basic, not much above minimum wage. I would like to do, but we make it our goal to provide a living wage. So last year, our goal, because this was a number that was projected, was $13 an hour. Inflation's gone up a little since last year. We actually, before we knew all those numbers, we set up for $13.50, but so far our average placement is a little over $16 an hour for people. So just to give you an idea of where numbers matter. Obviously, there are some people who are lower than that. There's some people who are higher than that. We also have right on our campus where people can get training. We have the Goodwill Career Training Academy. People can become phlebotomists, medical assistants, a variety of skilled trades. We have a high school there for anyone 18 to 50 to get the high school diploma. My mom went from being a cafeteria lady to being a cafeteria manager. Because all that you needed to be the manager was a high school diploma. She didn't have one. She was the oldest of 12. And so that's as far as she needed. For some people, that is a step to somewhere else. And so we work with people at all things. We have someone who's about to start college in the fall, who took our phlebotomy classes and went from a job where they were making a little over minimum wage to where all of a sudden they're working in the world that they want to work in as they study. So they're going to be drawing blood while they're getting their 2 years nurse. So there's obviously some income qualifications for most of them. It depends on the grant. Some of them are 200% of the poverty level. Some of them are 70%, 70 or 80% of the medium income discount, which is really high. I was surprised to know how it is when I started working here. And some of them are just certain circumstances. Like for high school, anybody who doesn't have a high school diploma from 18 to 50 is eligible. That's it. We don't have any income requirements for that. We also have a program we're spending most energy on right now. It's like one of our veterans programs, veteran spouses program, and one that is occupational training. This is about as cool as it gets. For any jobs that are in demand, your people's imagination, they're only limit. We will pay for them to get trained, certified for skills that are in demand. They don't know us anything. Obviously, they have to qualify for the program, but they don't know us anything. And so, any job, whether that be somewhere where we can find in-person training, which in this town is easier to do than in some other areas that we serve, or online training, if they have the right access to those kind of things, and they can get certified. And so all of a sudden, they go from having an okay job, not having an okay job, to having a career, to having skills that they can take with them wherever they go. So to me, that's always kind of different between a job and a career. A job is that if they let me go, or if I decide to go, I have to the skills. But if a career is one where I'm like, hey, this is what I've got. You need me more than I need you. So you talked about self-sufficiency, which I love. Ultimately, I think that what we do is kind of the same thing I'm trying to do with my 15-year-old to get to where she doesn't need me in due time. And they should give me attitudes. I'm ready for that more than others. But that's ultimately, we work with people literally one-on-one. We have, one-on-one support, which you guys know the term is career case manager, but we try to just use normal terms. And those people help people with simple things like interview skills, because there are jobs that you don't need the skills for an interview to do the job, but you need them to get the job. There are jobs where the skills necessary to write a resume are not necessary to keep the job, but they're necessary to get the job. So we work with people with a wide range of spectrum on all of these things, but ultimately we're about employment, And so that's what I want to share with you. We talked a little bit about some of this stuff. We want to figure out what the best ways, it doesn't have to be singular, the most methods to arrive in your communities, to be part of that in organic ways. So it's not just doing what I just did, hand you a bunch of flyers and hope they call. Whether that be when you're having events there, for us to be there and make some connections, and maybe be able to talk, and maybe be able to send someone else from one of our programs to talk, or if you're having something for veterans, I send someone for the veterans, if you're having something for the youth, or there's something that's general. And so that's what we want to work with you to. I don't know your properties the way you do. But your job is different than my job, but I think it's about as good of a partnership that we can bring on. So that's about as generic of presentations I could give you about 29 programs. Do you all have any questions?
Oh, great. Thank you.
All right. Well, listen, I brought some hand sanitizer and pen for each of you to grab, and the reason I brought those is because they have my phone number. And so please take one. Just pass that around if you will. And my call was, let's figure out a partnership. The world is kind of waking up. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, it's kind of reflected in this room. Some of us are, and some of us aren't wearing masks. It's something. This is the first actually. I started last year with Goodwill. I have done in-person events and virtual presentations. This is actually the first in-person presentation I've done. You know, people who we are actively trying to serve, people who we're trying to partner up with. And so that's kind of where we're going on. It's for some people that is trying to get back into the real world, trying to get back to the work world. And we actually do some jobs that are completely virtual, and we work with all that. But please don't let this conversation be an afterthought. Don't let it be like, oh, well, that was, you know, good looking young man that came and talked to us. But it's like this, there's a tool here that we can hand some of those people. We're trying to simplify some of their lives on some of the formulas for $200, this kind of thing, and how much it goes up. That's brilliant. We're trying to simplify it to where they can highlight that need and save their money and build some money and learn how to handle that money. So, all right, guys. No questions?
So we'll be following up, in particular Steve and Eric with IRM to talk about partnerships, and obviously it's a good segue into some of the other things we'd like to talk about. But we're looking forward to expanding that relationship with Goodwill.
Yeah, we're gonna be best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much. One of the things that I think that I like about the Winter Foundation has always worked is the great partnerships that have been established with organizations like Goodwill. And so I'm eager to hear more about it as it, you know, as it grows.
Yeah, we're doing all kinds of things. Like there, you know, there are some where we have very, very specific partnerships, and there are some where we have more general ones. But you know, and there are some that are within specific. Like tonight, one has specific conflict. So, and your communities, you know those better than we do, obviously, and we know our services. How to connect that, I think this is going to be a win.
It'll be great.
Thank you.
So item B, HATC Foundation Origin and History. Who's gonna talk about that?
Where we can pull that up this down. No, I'm talking about you're just gonna go.
Okay, hang on just a second.
Yeah, let me just brief by exception here. So we essentially, you know, received our 501c3 status in 2017. We've been working feverishly to, you know, actually move things forward. And I was fast forward to last summer where Eric started as our coordinator and has been hitting the ground running to really help establish, to I guess solidify some of the relationships that we had already established, and obviously work on creating new relationships, new partnerships, of which he highlighted some of those, and we'll be highlighting a few of those in just a second, say with library days and some other things. But we obviously we're talking about Goodwill and really re-engaging, you know, and that re-energizing that partnership. We had some discussions some time ago, but obviously didn't really move forward in the way that we could, and so we're looking forward to doing those things. So just briefly, you know, want to talk about, you know, kind of the fact that we're, you know, wanting to move forward. Obviously, it's exciting to see quite the interest on the part of the board to see us continue to help residents become, you know, the individuals that they want to become, help them be self-sufficient and really empower them and, you know, take charge of their lives. So with that, we can move to some of the specifics as it relates to the programs, which would be the current status of the foundation of the project. So we'll go there now. All right.
Good morning, everyone. So we're in our third month now of our partnership with Austin Public Library, getting library days on our property. So we've held 4 of those at this point. We've been steadily increasing our turnout each time, which is great. I think word of mouth is spreading in the communities. And we're expanding the different programs and offerings we have at these events. So right now we're partnering with Foundation Communities, Coming of Age, Latinistas, Cooking for Life, Austin, and we're working on bringing Texas A&M AgriLife into the fold. And all these organizations come and table and offer services at these events, which is a great sort of resource out for our residents. And we can talk about, Goodwill coming out and tabling at these events. We have our volunteer job coach out there in the afternoons. So that would be a great sort of collaborative effort that we can engage in. So we've been able to provide library cards. We've been renting out computers and hotspots to residents who need them for personal use, so they can rent those out for 3 months at a time from the library if they have a library card. We've been providing mobile mini libraries where we've been receiving book donations and giving those out to our youth in our communities. We do puppet shows. Austin Public Library puts on some really cool puppet shows and puppet workshops with the children. And of course, digital navigation systems, which was sort of the centerpiece that we plan these events around. We're also working on a few Learn and Earn programs. So Austin FreeNet already has a Learn and Earn program in place where there are 2 pathways. One is a needs assessment if you're on WIC SNAP, which most of our residents are, so that would be a great help. Or they can also take specific modules from Austin FreeNet, different training modules. And if they complete one of those 2 pathways, they earn their own computer keep, which has been something we've seen increasing demand for. Is we've been providing, rental technologies to people, but we're seeing a need now for people who need, their own devices, and devices that are, handicap accommodating. We have had some residents we've been able to check out computers too. We've had difficulties typing, so we check them out. Computers that work on voice command. So we're really working through all these different barriers people might face to digital inclusion. Teaching them a set of emails so they can get correspondence from housing authority and streamline those processes. And we've had a few people check out computers and start looking for jobs in different training programs. So we're really incorporating all the different community organizations we can into these library days. And it's a great sort of hub for people to come together and see what's available in the community. We've held community resource fairs before annually, but it's cool to have once a month tabling events where residents can see these resources and have access to them on a regular basis.
So in the interest of time, I think we want to talk a little bit about the advisory committee and then some of our next steps. So we'll just kind of go there now. That information is in the packet.
Okay.
The details. So we'll just go straight to sort of what's happening next.
So, the foundation in its short history has utilized a separate advisory board with some very impactful community leaders that have been members in the past. We are moving forward with plans to hopefully bring people back that have been on it, add new people, and we're well underway in making that happen. Stay tuned for more info on the meetings that we will be holding with the sort of reconstituted advisory committee. In addition to that, Eric had mentioned some partnerships. We currently have other partnerships that we're seeking to establish. We're really going to be focusing on trying to expand our community partnerships. In addition to opportunities to receive grants, other funding sources, expanding our service offerings and outreach. We have a lot of plans that some of these you can find reference to in the strategic plan. This is all going to be in conjunction with working with the advisory committee. But there's, I guess the bottom line for me, I'm very excited about what the opportunities are for the foundation. You know, it's still young, but there's tremendous opportunities for growth for this as an entity. So all I can tell you is to stay tuned. We are always here, Eric and I, and Patrick, to answer any questions you have. You know, Boardable is going to be a great way to keep you updated. But beyond that, there's a lot of things good things that are going to happen into the future with this institute. So stay tuned.
All right. Well, any questions? I would like to say how happy I am to see the revitalization of this. I think a lot of the credit for that is Eric, who held down the fort and made it into something that was tangible and real during the interim, and thank you for your leadership as well. Okay, any moving to item 6, new and unfinished business. Any new and unfinished or unfinished business? Then anything, a motion to adjourn the foundation.
I need to adjourn.
All in favor? Okay.